What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Late Night Crunch. So today I want to talk about my favorite Vault Hunter from the new set of 4 and the one that I'm most likely going to be playing when the game drops. And it's gotta be Rafa by a country mile. This dude is by far the coolest of the 4 in my opinion. He got the coolest moments in the trailer, the coolest abilities, and he just looks overall badass. So one of the things that I like the most about him is his tech. His suit in particular, I like how kind of digital it looks. Like the way that it transforms onto his head reminds me of Star-Lord. And I've always kind of liked Star-Lord's helmet, the way that it animates onto his face. So I'm getting those kind of vibes here, which for me personally, I'm very, very down for, you know. Not to mention the digi-structing thing that he's got going on for his weapons. You know, that's how he gets the blades and it looks like the pistol here. Like he just has a really cool set of skills. And he's very, very unique as far as, you know, these Vault Hunters go. So he seems like he's going to be very up close and personal. That's at least the way that they were kind of describing him. Like he's going to be quick. He's going to be, you know, pretty violent. And as we all saw, that main ability there was the spinning blades, which you obviously want to be close for. And this is absolute music to my ears. My favorite type of ability is when I can just deploy it in the middle of a fight, because most of the time I forget that I have it. So when I notice, I can just push a button, do a really cool move that does a lot of damage for a few seconds, and then get right back to what I was doing beforehand. Doesn't take any setup, doesn't really take any deep thought, you know. All I want to do is plant myself in the middle of a sea of enemies, and I'll get the most out of my abilities. So to me, this is the only way to go, at least when I first play the game. His backstory is also pretty interesting to me. He was born in a place with microgravity, so his entire body has evolved differently from our own. He couldn't really survive outside of his planet, so he looked for, you know, alternate ways to live and to escape. He found his ticket with Tedior, one of the older manufacturing companies, signing up for the military force in an attempt to escape and get out of this planet. They promised him a lot, and they delivered too. They gave him a complete suit, head to toe, that would overhaul his entire body. First, by enhancing it with technology and weapons, like we mentioned, but also by allowing him to survive off-world in any other environment. This was absolute freedom to Rafa. He had never experienced anything like this before. He always knew that it was essentially a death sentence to go anywhere but his home planet. However, this next stage of his life came to a screeching halt when he realized that Tedior was not going to let him go. Yes, he had signed a contract, and yes, he expected them to honor the contract, but eventually he became aware that they were not that type of company. He knew they had invested a lot into him and his life and his suit, and they weren't just going to let him go with all that money and tech. So the moment he realized that, he knew he had to go AWOL. So he went, most likely with a fight for his life, and ever since then, he's been living under constant threat of his suit failing him or simply being tampered with by Tedior. Honestly, Rafa has no idea what their remote capabilities are, but they haven't shut it off so far, so he's just gonna live each day to the fullest and hope for the best, and just try to keep a smile on his face no matter what's going on, because he knows more than most that any day could very well be his last. So anyways, as you can tell, he's my new favorite character by far, and absolutely the first guy that I'm going to play the game as. I just really, really vibe with his backstory and his design and everything like that. I think that it's going to be a great time, and he's going to feel like a real up-close and violent character, which is exactly what I want. Anyways, let me know if you want me to cover the other characters. I'm not as interested in them, but most of them do have pretty interesting stories to tell, and I wouldn't mind making a video on them. So let me know, but that about does it for now. See ya.